Welcome back. Have you ever heard of zombie debt? No, has nothing to do with overspending in preparation for, of course, the inevitable zombie apocalypse. That's not what we're talking about. Zombie debt here refers to debt that is legally dead, as in you no longer owe it. Maybe you never owed it, but that won't stop some debt collectors from harassing you about it. Our next guest says the law is on your side, though, when it comes to zombie debt. Ed Herman is with the law firm Brown & Crouppen. Ed, where does this zombie debt come from in the first place?
Well, a lot of it's old debts. It's debts that maybe you owed them at one point, but the statute of limitations on their ability to collect on them has long passed. It may be a situation that it was a debt that you properly discharged in a bankruptcy, so you don't owe it anymore, but it's still floating on the books somewhere out there. Like you mentioned, it may have been a debt that you never owed, but it got put in your name for some reason. And the point is that they're old. But here's what happens: there are zombie debt companies, and they will buy up all of the old debt from like a collection agency,
Right.
and they'll buy it for pennies on the dollar. So they'll go in and they'll buy like $1 million worth of debt, which might be thousands of creditors or thousands of debtors rather. And they'll buy up $1 million worth of debt, and they'll get it for like $10,000. And then the way they see it is they're going to try to collect as much of that million as possible. If they only collect 20,000, hey, they just doubled their money. If they can collect 100,000, which is optimistic, but if they did, they just made 10 times their money. So this is what they do. Unfortunately, their tactics can be illegal and highly aggressive. So my warning to people is this: you don't have to talk to any of these people who are trying to collect a debt. You don't have to. In fact, I advise you not to, especially when you know you don't own the debt. You can always request that everything be done in writing. Which prevents them from calling you and harassing you. Do not make, if you don't owe the debt, if this is legitimately old debt, zombie debt, do not make any kind of payment to them, even a small one. They'll sometimes call it a good faith payment. They'll say, well, if you just send us $50 in good faith, then we know you're good for it and we'll work out a payment plan. The problem is once you have paid something on the debt, you revive the statute of limitations. And a debt that was once dead may come back to life. And on top of that, it may be looked at by a court as an admission that you, in fact, owed the debt. Because why would you have sent this money if you didn't owe it?
That's crazy.
So if you know it's old, I don't recommend spending a dime in paying it. In fact, I would advise you not to.
Good tips, Ed. Thank you very much. So bottom line, if it really is zombie debt, just ignore them. Put them in their place. Tell them to contact you in writing and then take it from there. We appreciate the tips. If you'd like to get in touch with Brown & Crouppen, just call 314-222-2222 or visit their website, getbc.com. And boy, you got to check out bctv.com for constantly updated, funny and entertaining and, yes, even informative videos from Ed and the crew at Brown & Crouppen. Thanks, Ed.